Hi, folks. Welcome to the preparedhomestead.com. This is Travis. Thank you all for stopping by to watch. It seems like the news cycle is slowing down just a little bit. The last few days has been crazy. We've been talking about it. So has other people. The new year came in quite like a big old tidal wave with a lot of stuff. Doesn't mean nothing's going on. It just means that this morning it seemed like things were cooling off just a bit. I do notice that the Epstein client list has not been released yet, and now they're saying it could be delayed towards the end of this month. There are theories out there that World War III will start before then or around that time to distract everyone from the Epstein client list. I don't know. I'm not saying I necessarily believe in that, but it wouldn't surprise me. I think that I don't know what to believe, if it's as important as everyone says it is or not. I think most of the people, it would mostly just prove to the individual people that what they've been saying for years is true. I don't know that it would really change anything, but there has been quite a bit of talk over the last few days about that because it's supposed to be released according to a judge's order. Anyways, before I get going with my little discussion, I wanted to clarify something. Yesterday's video, I talked about the stray dog, the dumped dog that we picked up and taking care of, and that I was feeding it venison. And a lot of people thought that that was great, but a lot more of you thought also that that was wasteful and that we must be rich and all this kind of stuff. So I wanted to clarify that for just a moment. We supplement our dog's food with venison and other wild animals. And I do that not because I'm this great hunter or I can afford to just feed dogs good quality meat and everything. I do it because, it might sound disgusting, but it's roadkill. We live, of course, where there's lots and lots of deer. In fact, our county usually ranks in the top 2, top 3, top 5 every year for the amount of deer taken. They're everywhere, all over the place, herds of them. And so it's pretty often, especially on these little side roads, that someone will take out a deer. Now, I'm not picking up rotten in the middle of the summer, maggots pouring out of it, gross stuff. I'm picking up something that's pretty fresh. Usually it's because a neighbor notified me that, hey, I've had, just a few weeks ago, someone dropped one off that was hit. And they're probably good enough to eat. I check them. If they're starting to really, then, of course I won't use them even for the dogs. But because they're roadkill, I've eaten roadkill in the past, but I don't anymore. I only eat an animal the life that I've taken directly or someone else directly. And I'm not going to go into that. But anyways, so that's one of the ways we supplement. We don't feed it to them all the time. It's to add to their food, to keep them healthy. They all have a purpose. And some of you are going to ask, well, what in the world's this old dog's purpose? I don't know, just to give the family some enjoyment also, and give him a little good life while he's got what little he's got left. But yeah, we're not taking, high quality meat, that you and I would eat. We're feeding them roadkill, okay? It's the same way with other animals, it's roadkill. Or if I take out an animal on the property, like last year, there was a groundhog that was in the garden and giving us some problems, and I wasn't going to directly shoot it. I was just trying to get it out of the garden. And when I went out there, the thing actually turned on me and started chasing me. And I thought, well, I can't have something like that around the property with the children because they're in the garden all the time. So he ended up in the dog's belly. Anyways, I just thought I would clarify that because, it's YouTube and people always get upset over something. Since the news cycle is not showing anything that's, just out there and that we have to get prepared for this moment, I thought I would talk about, kind of the Minuteman thing. And I'm going to take a little different twist on it, but it's not that different. Most people, when they think of Minutemen, they think of someone like in the colonial times that has to have their rifle and their powder bag and all that kind of stuff ready so that when the redcoats come, they can grab it and run and go fight with them. That's part of it, yes. But I also want to emphasize something else that's also part of it that a lot of times doesn't get talked about. And that is, if you have neighbors or a tribe, a mag, or anything like that, whether it be now or in the future when things really start falling apart, you may be called upon by them to come help them for a variety of things. Maybe it's, a water pipe burst and their house is flooding, or someone got injured, or someone's having a heart attack, or the pack of wolves is killing their chickens, or there's some two-legged critter coming up the road that it has bad intents to do harm to them. Any of those things and many more scenarios could require you to very, very rapidly deploy to go give aid to someone around you. Now, of course, if these people live far away or whatever, it's going to be different, and you may not be able to actually help. You're kind of the cleanup crew at that point. But for some of you that would have people in your tribe within a walk or a short few miles drive, you could easily be called upon. I mean, that's the whole point of having a tribe, is that there's someone there that, on the other end of the radio or the cell phone or the smoke signal or whatever, that you can holler at, and they can come running when things are bad. In our little tribe, it's happened before, and it's not because of, pajamas and ninjas in pajamas jumping out of helicopters. It's because, they've gotten injured, or, something broke, a water pipe. That actually happened not too long ago. One of the tribe members' water pipe busted, and while it wasn't a critical emergency, it was something they needed taken care of pretty quickly, so that they could get water going again. And so, ran over there, a couple of us had to dig a line up and got it replaced. Are you ready for that? Have you thought clearly about that? We talk about bug out bags and go bags and things like that all over these channels. And again, they're usually in reference to you leaving your home to bug out, or, you leaving to go fight in some type of, guns blazing combat scenario. But what about all the other stuff? What about medical? What about just helping repair something? A sick animal, they call and say, my cow went down and she's not doing good. I need help getting her back up. Are you prepared for that? Do you have the tools necessary? Do you keep them at ready? Do you keep them in the trunk of your car, the bed of your truck, or behind the seat, at the front door? Have you thought through it? You don't need a whole lot. We're not talking tens of thousands of dollars in gear, but having a bucket ready that's got chainsaw stuff in it. I have that. Many of you do also. But I have a 5-gallon bucket, and it's got a can of fuel in it, some bar oil, spare chain, tools, sharpening, gloves, a little IFAC. I'm trying to think of what else it would have in it, but I've got that sitting right next to the chainsaw, so that if I need to grab it, it's all right there. I don't have to go looking for anything. Medical. I've got a first responder medical bag. It stays in the vehicle. It's way bigger than just an IFAC. IFACs are great, and if that's all you have, use it. But I would encourage you to kind of expand and have a little bit more. And so have that. Have a couple tool bags, one in the truck and one at the house, outside of the truck. And it's not all my tools, of course, but it's most of the basic tools that's needed to do things. I keep vehicle recovery stuff in my truck, tow straps and hooks and chains and jumper cables, a tire repair kit. A lot of these things are for myself. If something happens and my vehicle breaks down, or I have a flat tire, or I get stuck, I can use them for myself. But they're also there in case, someone calls, a neighbor or someone in our tribe calls and says, hey, I was out cutting wood in the woods and my truck's stuck. Can't get it out. All right. I can respond pretty quickly. I don't have to scurry around in the barn, in the garage, or tool shed trying to figure out where everything's at. while not all of these scenarios may be immediately life-threatening, requiring a very rapid response, most of them, it would be nice at least if there was a rapid response. And so I think this is something as preppers we should think about. Being a Minuteman for all scenarios, not just, do I need to come over and, take care of critters coming through your window kind of thing, or front door. It's something I don't think is talked about a lot. I mean, we hear the Minuteman talk, we hear the having some emergency equipment on hand to take care of your own needs, but what about being able to rapidly deploy, rapidly respond to a neighbor or someone else in your community, in your tribe, when they need help? And so I think that is something that you should all be considering. I've been making videos over on my locals channel, talking about some of the stuff that I carry in my vehicle. My videos, when I do that, they're a lot less. They're lackluster. Okay, they're not as fancy as some of these guys. Oh, here's my full truck loadout, and it all looks very high production. Mine aren't quite that great, but you can at least see some of the stuff that I carry in my vehicle or carry in a bag. I've made several different videos over the last few weeks on this subject because I think it's necessary that we carry that away from home. I know you can say, well, I have this stuff sitting at the front door, or at the front of the garage or something. That's great, but what if you're away from home? What if you're out somewhere and you come across a neighbor that's stuck in a ditch, or that's needs medical care, or you get a call from someone, and now you got to either go home and get your stuff and then go over there or whatever. So if you're able to, if you have the vehicle space, I would have a little section of your trunk or your toolbox bed, whatever, behind the seat that you can put some of this stuff. You don't have to carry everything. It doesn't have to take up a lot of room, but just some basic tools, some basic gear would be really nice to have. And so while this isn't necessarily the most exciting subject, it may more directly affect you and your tribe and your neighbors around you than talking about, stock markets crashing in World War III. Because these are real life things. These are things that's going to affect all of you. And so I would be thinking about that. My advice to start off with is get you a small, heavy-duty nylon type bag. You can get these nice little nylon tool bags for not too much money anymore. I've got one, again, you can see it over on Locals. That's the preparedhomestead.locals.com. There's a link down in the description below. But I picked up one at Harbor Freight, and like them or love them, I've had this thing for quite a while, and it's held up nice. I've had zero, issues with it. It's not falling apart at all, and I've had quite a bit of weight in it at times. So a small tool bag, a little bit more robust medical bag, vehicle recovery stuff. Chainsaw, some tools like that. I keep an axe in my truck. I keep a shovel, pry bar, things like that, so that I can easily get to it if I need to when there's an emergency. Now I know most of you old timers or you country bumpkins, don't be offended. I fall into that category. You say, well, we've always had this kind of stuff. That's true. That's true. I grew up, my grandpa, my dad, always had all this kind of stuff in their truck. They had a toolbox, one of them kind that go across the back of the bed, from side to side. And you'd get in there, and half the time it was a mess. But just about anything you need would be in there. Everything from bullet shells and shotgun shells rolling around on the floor of it, and nuts and bolts and nails and Band-Aids and who knows what else. So this isn't a new thing. It's just something to think about, ponder, and kind of prepare for, because that's really one of the biggest things about being in some kind of mutual assistance group, tribe, mag, whatever you want to call it, or just being a good neighbor so that you can all ride out this storm much better, is being able to go to their aid, help them when they need something. And so I would consider doing that. You can also put, some bottled water in there, a few blankets. Again, most all of these things are dual purpose. They're for you and your family if they break down, or you're out stuck while the apocalypse is happening. Oh, but they're also really good to have so that you can help people around you too. And so I would strongly consider um, doing this kind of stuff and kind of looking over. There's lots of videos out there and on this subject, and like I said, there's some over on my locals channel, and I'll be making more as I update things, because I got that truck topper thing. You've probably seen me talk about it, and I'm still working on it. It's new enough, that I do something and then I'm changing it and then changing it. So I'm still in that process. And then as it develops and matures, the whole setup, I regularly give updates over there on locals, just to kind of encourage people, giving them some ideas of how they can set things up or what kind of gear that they should probably pick up. Anyways, well, speaking of that, I think I've got some chores and things to do around here that will include using some of that gear. Folks, you need to be getting your houses in order and preparing yourselves mentally, physically, and spiritually. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.